And on the back of Ben's debrief, we now welcome Kawa Hassan, non-resident fellow of the Middle East and North Africa Program at the Stimson Center. Good afternoon, and thank you so much for joining us on TVP World.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon.
So we see these events unfolding today. I'd like to begin with perhaps a very obvious question. Are Iran and Israel at war now, or is this perhaps the beginning of the end? And it's actually de-escalation.
Right. I'm not sure we are at the beginning of the end, but it seems from the available information, and which isn't that much, and as your colleague said, right now, actually, almost everyone, except for those who have insider information, we are somehow speculating. But it seems for now, U.S. pressure on Israel has worked. That Israel has decided not to go for a big attack, but for a very limited, calibrated attack, very sophisticated. And of course, so far, Israel hasn't neither confirmed nor denied responsibility for it. But it seems that U.S. pressure indeed has worked. And it seems that Iran is playing down the importance of it. Israel is silent. And where do we get information? We get leaked information in the U.S. media, but also U.S. diplomats, including the top diplomat Blinken, didn't want to comment on the incidents today in Italy. So it's a very strange situation, a bizarre situation where something big happened, but we are speculating as to what exactly happened, what are the exact damages being done. But for now, it seems that actually the prospect of an all-out war has been averted, but that doesn't mean that the situation, isn't tense yet. Actually, all the root causes that has led to the current crisis is there, and the risks of miscalculation and perceptions from both sides of the conflict remains very, very high.
Mm-hmm. Now, Kawa, let me ask you, because I find it fascinating as we're trying to understand all this, that we now have two sovereign nations firing drones and missiles at each other, and we're just calling it a day and thinking this is not a big deal. I mean, this is not sustainable. I mean, if someone else were doing this, would be a war. But if we look at also the kind of words we're hearing from around international commentators, it's one of, well, as if something much less tragic has happened here. Thankfully, there have been no real casualties here. But if we just look at also the reaction from the Israeli side as well, mind you, from a very ultra-nationalist security minister, Mr. Gvir, who said that this was a feeble and lame attempt by the Israeli armed forces, but at the same side, the Iranians are downplaying it, calling it just an infiltration, calling it not really a truly external attack. This sounds like they're kind of goading for more. Is there going to be more? This can't end this way, or it cannot go on in any good way, can it?
Right, you're right. I mean, the only silver lining in this whole crisis is actually the fact that there hasn't been a big Israeli attack. Having said that, that doesn't mean that Israel may not, it doesn't mean that Israel will not attack, will initiate a bigger attack in the future. We don't know for a fact. But the bar in terms of regional stability, the bar is so low that we have to be, quote unquote, happy with the fact that there hasn't been an all-out war between these two, arch enemies. But you are right, absolutely. The risks of miscalculation and the risk of high tension, and even again, the risk of state-to-state warfare is still there. So, and the implications for the peoples of the region is terrible, because things could go wrong, because these two parties may miscalculate, and that again leads to tit for tat attacks and counterattacks. And we don't know if U.S. and other international actors can control the situation as it evolves. But for the time being, indeed, we have, there's a sigh of relief that U.S. has managed to put pressure on Israel not to go for a big, massive attack.
I just want to ask you very briefly before we go, is this current situation between Israel and Iran really a way of detracting attention from the real problem, and that is the war in Gaza?
Absolutely. I think that's absolutely right. So as we all, talk about this. Previously was a shadow war, right now is a direct war between these two arch enemies. But the root of the cause is the lack of a sustainable solution for the Palestinian issue, lack for a peaceful arrangement, settlement between Israel and Palestinians. So the carnage in Gaza goes on. The war between Hezbollah and Israel goes on. And, there is no prospect whatsoever right now for any even a deal on the release of hostages, and prospect for any political process or even a ceasefire between Hamas and Israel. So the roots of the causes are there, and the suffering of people in Gaza is still there. So as long as the root cause of the problem has not been addressed, I'm afraid this situation, this high gamble between Israel and Iran will continue, and we may see even more red lines being crossed by both parties.
Right, and I think also that is something that we hear a lot of red lines being crossed or not crossed, but we have, I think, one of the most tense situations we've had ever in that region, huge ramifications for the world. We'll have to stop it there. Thank you so much. That was Kawa Hassan. Thanks for your insights today here with us.
Thank you very much. Thank you.